everyone and welcome back to Waverly Reads. Today I am bringing you my January wrap up of the books that I read in January. The first wrap up of the year. I read 6 books this month and I'm currently reading 2 at the same time, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Or maybe we won't. Maybe you won't find out until next month. I don't know. These are the 6 books that I read. The first book that I read this year was 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. This is a book about a girl named Hannah who had recently committed suicide. Tapes are sent out, her suicide tapes with the reasons as to why she committed suicide, and this book follows our male protagonist Clay Jensen, who receives his tapes in the beginning of this book and listens to them all, finding out the reasons why Hannah Baker committed suicide. So much hype around this book, maybe not so much the book but more the TV show now, that I went into it expecting to love it and also expecting to be like really triggered by it. But it touches on a lot of graphic stuff, but to me, in all honesty, it wasn't that great. I gave it a 3.7 in my rating system and only gave it a 3-star in my enjoyability rating because although it was good, it wasn't great, and I feel like the hype really killed it for me. The next book I read this month was A Little in Love by Susan Fletcher. This is a Les Miserables telling based around the character Eponine. It follows Eponine from a child to her adulthood, and the story of her falling in love with this male named Marius and then having to give him up and stuff like that. If you've watched Les Mis, then you know Eponine's story in her adulthood, but it really does touch into her childhood as well. I immensely adored this book. The writing style is absolutely beautiful and it's such a good book. Like, I wouldn't recommend it if you hadn't seen or listened to or read Les Mis, but if you're into Les Mis, then this one is definitely one that you should pick up, especially if you love Eponine. Like, who doesn't love Eponine? But if you don't, then you need to read this anyway, because then you will love Eponine, because Eponine's great. Got a 4.5 in my rating system and a 4.5-star enjoyability as well. Next up is Hamilton, The Revolution by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter. This is a gorgeous book. Just look at this. It's also tears, but it's a gorgeous book. It goes through Hamilton, basically. It gives you the song lyrics and like little notes as to why those lyrics were chosen, and it also gives you history and also like the casting and why they were cast and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. It got a 4.5-star in my rating system and a 4-star in my enjoyability. The next book I read is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This book follows 2 boys, Matthew and Rufus, who have been contacted by Deathcast, which is this phone call text type thing that tells you, hey, you're gonna die within the next 24 hours. They both get this call by Deathcast to tell them they're gonna die, and then they meet on this app called The Last Friend, which is an app where you meet other Deckers, which is what they call the people that are gonna die that day, and they spend their last day together. It's seriously cute. I flipping well loved it. I have a full review of it up on my channel, spoiler free. If you want to go and see that, I will link it in the description. 4.7 in my rating system and a 5-star enjoyability. I really love this. The next book I read was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a sequel to Throne of Glass, so I can't really go too much into what it's about, but just know it's about a girl assassin named Selena who has taken part in these games. I'm going to call them games. It's a competition to become the king's assassin and therefore win her freedom from prison. And this is the sequel, so it follows a bit of a different storyline, but spoilers and stuff, so I'm not going to go into what it's about, but I highly recommend the Throne of Glass series. I mean, I've only read 2 of them, but I'm already addicted. That being said, I did go into this with too high expectations, expecting to absolutely love it and smash it, but at the same time I was really nervous about it because I've had a bad history with a Sarah J. Maas sequel. Caught my spirit. I didn't expect this one to go in that direction anyway, and it didn't, but I went in with too high expectations because I expected to love it because it's a completely different concept and there's no way it could change, but I didn't love it as much, let's just say that. I also couldn't get the selection out of my head because it's a royalty competition. Just my mind was like, they're identical. they're not, but in my brain apparently they are. This got a 4.1 in my rating system and a 3.5 enjoyability. And then the last book I read this month was my first reread of the year, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. If you don't know what this is about, then where the heck have you been? Because everyone and their mother knows what this is about. I haven't put this in my rating system yet, so we're just gonna go to the last time I read it. Got a 4.7 star in my rating system, and all the time it's gonna get a 5-star enjoyability. I'm a little bit biased because I absolutely love it, but that's okay. These are all the books that I read in the month of January. This is how I started off my year, and to be fair, I didn't hate any of these books. My least favourite was obviously 13 Reasons Why, and I want to say my favourite was probably They Both Die at the End, but The Hunger Games was shoved in there, so I don't know. That's a reread, that doesn't count. So my favourite out of the ones I had never read before would have been They Both Die at the End. But I do recommend all of these books. Just try not to think about the hype too much when it comes around to 13 Reasons Why. It's not worth it. In my humble opinion anyway. Let me know what you got around to reading in the description, in the comment section down below, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoy. My name is Waverly, and now I'm off to read. Bye!